Good afternoon. I'm your host, Steve Bassnett, and I would like to welcome you on behalf of CANASA and Security Canada to today's session. I would also like to say a special thank you to IPTECHVIEW Incorporated for their support and for sponsoring today's session. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing Christian Find, Sales Director for Canada. Christian started his career in the security world in 2010 after coming to Canada from Germany. His technical knowledge of German out-of-the-box solutions, as well as his business background, made it easy to build up a strong partner network for Mobotics and Kentic solutions, and to support it technically as well as professionally. Christian joined ABP Technologies in 2015, managing Canada in all aspects of the business. ABP Technologies introduced IPTECHVIEW in 2018 to the market, starting with a few selected beta testers to now 1,800 partners hosting more than 9,000 devices around the world. Also with us today is Osvaldo Morales, goes by Oz, from ABP's headquarters in Dallas. Oz joined IPTECHVIEW in 2019 and is the senior tech supporter of the platform. Feel free to type any questions you may have during the session into the Q&A window at the bottom of your screen, and Christian and Oz will respond during the Q&A portion roughly 20 minutes from now. I'll now turn the session over to them. Welcome, guys, and thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us, Steve, and thank you so much for the warm introduction. It's a pleasure to be here. So what is IPTECHVIEW? To explain that, allow me to go back to 2016, when our founder and president had the realization of two major trends in the market. The first trend was the increasing competition resulting in erosion margins. Not a very sustainable way for businesses forward, right? And the second trend was the pop-up of vendor platforms to manage their own products being used as more or less sales tools to lock partners in. So he created a vision of an open-minded platform which makes it secure and easy for our partners to operate their business while creating a recurring monthly revenue as a sustainable way forward. And we're very pleased to present to you today the results of that vision. Now, we do this in a two-step way. I'll spend a couple of minutes giving you some background information about the platform, and then I turn it over to Oz, and he will give you the live demonstration. So let's start with the benefits for the end user, because it's an end user driven system. First of all, as I said already, every vendor is welcomed, no matter what. We prefer, of course, if the vendors get certified directly, so we can basically create a link from their devices into our cloud. And that brings us almost to the technical subject about the security, but I'll talk about this later. The user only needs a device with a browser. And to be quite honest, all of us have a browser in our pockets these days. It's on our phones. That's everything the end user needs to really operate the system. It is simple, it is intuitive. We highly doubt that you need to give them a big training to make them understand how to use. It is scalable. If it's just one device or if it's 1,000 devices, we don't care. We can handle them, and we make the management of those of such projects an easy thing to do. We also add multiple features. If you have an older camera system and you need a license plate recognition solution for your clients, we can do that. We have artificial intelligence analytics in the background. But we're not stopping there. Because of our connections into markets, we also have environmental sensors or elevated body temperature scanners you would like to incorporate into the platform. And when I say incorporating, I mean you can connect them to an if this then that alarm chain, so that it's a real big benefit for the end user to incorporate that. For you as a partner, we have one simple place to manage all of your products for a project and all the data which belongs to that. You'll see that later on. You can provide improved support for your end clients and hopefully raise their satisfaction with you. Instead of being reactive, you're now becoming proactive. And what is an example? Let's say your client says they need at least 30 days recording, but all of a sudden the system only records 29 days. Well, our system would already trigger an alert for that. The system would still work. Nobody would basically see any problems with it, but you get the alert. So you get the meaning of how proactive the system can be. As I said, it's easy for you to manage larger projects. The cost on your side will decrease because you spend less time on the road, you will be more efficient, and your productivity goes up. And best of all, of course, it creates a recurring revenue stream for yourself, for your business. So from our IPTECHView universe, the three pillars which we're focusing on right now, there is the physical security, the IP surveillance, the access control, and the IoT scanners. Then we have the telephony side. So if you want to go into VoIP, we can help you there as well with phones and PBX systems. And then we have the infrastructure, the routers, the switches. So if that doesn't work, then nothing works, as we all know. What kind of problems do we resolve with IPTECHView? Well, first of all, again, we make it really simple. We make it serverless. There is no software to be installed, no software to be maintained, and no training to be given, or almost no training to be given. We incorporate all the vendors, so you don't have to just select certain vendors. I mean, if you like them, perfect. But let's face it, every client of yours has other devices in the network, and you can take them over, even if it's a printer, right? And it's very secure. And I want to really spend one more second here on the security. The firewalls can be closed and no port forwarding is required. So if your end user gets a new router from their internet service provider, well, quite honestly, you don't need to care because you don't need it anymore. Our devices, our systems connect directly into the cloud. Last but not least, thanks to our mother company, ABP Tech Canada, we can also offer you the products themselves with all the services, assembly services, pre-provisioning services, tech support, pre-engineering support, everything from one source. But again, it's optional. You can stay with whoever you like, but we can put this on the plate, a real nice benefit here. And one of the strongest benefits we can give you is we're a young company. We're hungry for solutions. So if you don't have the perfect solution right now for a challenge your own clients have, please talk to us. Don't hesitate. We might be able to easily create that with our platform to really help you there and move both of our businesses forward. But with no further delay, I'd like to pass it on to Oz now. And Oz, please take it away. Oz, we can't hear you. Sorry for the technical problem here. Okay, Oz, we had this resolved before we started today. This is not good. Sorry for that.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you. Perfect.
Awesome. Okay. Let's go ahead and get started. So first, what I want to do is I'm going to show you what the end user is actually going to see, right? And this is called IPTECHVIEW surveillance. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and log in here. All right. So what you're first greeted with, we're going to start over here on the top left. We're going to be greeted over here with the map view. As you can see, we've had a lot of growth here. We're on several continents. Green indicates where there is actually surveillance and where users are actually utilizing the platform. So what you can do while being on map view is you can click on one of these dots here and it can go directly to your surveillance. So just picture yourself as an end user, right? So if I click on the green camera, it's going to take me directly to my live view. So I'm going to go ahead and go directly to it. And now I'm in view cameras. As you can see, all this is happening live right now, right? And we wanted to make this very inclusive, very simple, and very intuitive with the end user in mind. As you can see here, we have a variety of different model of cameras, all happening live. And if you want, you can actually click on an individual camera and you can see what's happening. So let me go ahead and click on this license plate recognition camera. And as you can see here, I have the streaming at the top, and down at the bottom, I have the past event. Okay. Now let's go ahead and move forward. Now I want to show you something that we just recently released, something that could be very beneficial to an end user as far as getting their cameras organized for the areas of interest. For example, let's say you have financial institution as one of your customers, and they want to see the safe room, right? And in a variety of locations. Well, they can group that in spaces. So you can see here, I've kind of titled this space front entrance. So this would be all my cameras that have a front entrance view, right? Give you another example. Here's an overview of all the cameras we would have here at our facility, right? And you can move these around. So you can have the front, this camera in the middle as your preferred choice of view. I'll show you one more example. Here's our provisioning rooms. This is where we actually provision the devices, right? So they're cloud ready. So when the customer receives them, they're ready to go and they're up and running as far as viewing them on the cloud. Let me go ahead and take you back to the front entrance. We've created some of these little short icons here at the very top. For example, this little cloud storage symbol is going to take you directly to the cloud storage flare. So I can click on that here. And now right away, I'm in the cloud flare. Now as an end user, I don't have to have any training, right? I can go into a specific event very easily and play it right away, okay? I can go to another one as well. Rotate the image if need be. And you can hear the audio playing. What's so dynamic of our cloud storage compared to others is that you can download the video directly. You can share this with law enforcement if you need to, right? You can put a media expiration date on it as well. You can share it as an SMS or an email. Now, let's say there's an event that happened. Normally, law enforcement requires you to grab, the hours leading up to it. So you can right-click at a specific event and then right-click at a stop event. And then now it can stitch all those events together for you. You can email this to, let's say a supervisor and law enforcement. At the same time, you can archive an event. So we have 30 days, 90 days. I mean, we can go even further than as far as cloud retention. And one last thing about the Cloudflare is that you have embedded a time-lapse feature where you can grab a time-lapse, let's say of a whole year, and share that with an individual. Go ahead and close out of here. Now, the next thing I want to show you is Blueprint. So Blueprint is another way for the end user to have situational awareness, is what we call it. So for example, I just uploaded an actual drone shot of our facility here, right? And I wanted to see the coverage angles and also where the cameras are installed. So what's so unique about the Blueprint, it's on the browser, right? You can hover your mouse over it, an icon. It's going to show you the live view. So this is a back alley camera. Over here to the side, we have the will call camera, which is a side view of the camera. Now, let me give you one more example of another Blueprint. One thing about IPTECHVIEW surveillance, it's not just for cameras, right? It's for IoT, it's for other devices. For example, we have an environmental sensor here, right? Where we're actually collecting metadata from it. But at the same time, you can see we have coverage angles, we have where cameras are installed, we have live view happening from this. So this is another way for the end user to interact with their surveillance system. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you Alarm Ready. Alarm Ready is a universal video verification. So what happens is, let's see here. It's called Alarm Ready, and it's instant video verification the moment that the alarm system goes off. Here's a visual that kind of explaining what's happening here. As you know, most facilities have an alarm system, right? In the event that the alarm system goes off, normally what happens is they give a call to the person in charge. Well, that could be in the late hours. So of course they would want the law enforcement to send a law enforcement, right? Well, that can result into false alarm fees. What we decided is we have Alarm Ready. So the moment that the alarm system goes off, you're going to get an instant notification prompting you to see video verification. So as you can see here over to the right, we have Alarm Ready. And this is an actual alert of how it will look on your actual mobile device, right? So here's an example. Let's say you have a building, multiple cameras. You don't know if there's an intruder. Well, by having Alarm Ready, you'll be able to see where the intruder is at actually in the facility, because what's going to happen, it's going to prompt you to the most recent activity. So it'll show you the latest camera with the most recent movement in sequential order. So this is another way where you can add value to your end user. So, who wouldn't want to have video verification when the alarm system goes off? Okay. The next thing is I want to talk about camera lists. So these are actual screenshots of how it would look on a mobile device for an end user. You have camera lists over here to the left. As you can see here, these are the available actions per camera. So each camera can have a specific special feature enabled for it. For example, you could have heat maps turned on, as you see here. This could be used for retail. This could be used for marketing. Over here in the middle, where my mouse is at, this would be an SMS alert for activity sensor. Let's say you had an end user going away on vacation. They want to be alerted if there's any movement after hours. They can go in here and enable SMS alert and put the begin and end time. And anytime there's a movement, they would get an instant notification sent to their mobile device. Over here to the right, we have people counting. So you can utilize the power of the cameras to be able to count people for you. This could be used for forecasting personnel to be there, to be able to equip for any time there's an increased amount of people in the building. Okay. The next set of features would be, as an end user, you can play a sound off the camera. You can record, disable. You can also set up temperature thresholds, such as, if it gets too hot in a room, too cold in a room, you can set up a threshold for that so you can get an alert. Okay. Now there's one other thing I want to talk to you about, and that is the project tab. And the project tab, I'm actually showing my colleagues home here. Here in the project tab, you can see if there's any issues related to the surveillance, right? As we can see here, everything is up and running, and we've had about maybe 69 alerts in the past 30 days. But I want to show you his garage home here, right? Because one of the things about IPTECHVIEW surveillance is that you can actually control certain devices. For example, here you can see his garage doors. We've created some custom buttons down below here where you can actually open a right door or open a left door. If you could just use your imagination, you can utilize this to turn on a light or shut down a gate. So for example, let's go ahead and open his right door here. We'll send a command. Okay. And this should be opening its door. As you can see there, the light is coming through. All right. So we'll go ahead and close this door here really quickly. Make sure no one comes in. And we'll scroll back up and you can see the door closing. Okay. All right, guys. So just to keep it really short, as far as IPTECHVIEW surveillance, I want to now go ahead and pivot over to IPTECHVIEW system. Okay. So IPTECHVIEW system is a remote management platform that allows an MSP, a managed service provider, to automate some of their services. But as you can see, you'll see that it's equipped with a lot more features, right? So here, when I log into IPTECHVIEW system, I'm greeted with the monitoring dashboard. So you can see I have some green dots here and I have some red dots. Red dots, that indicates there's an issue there, right? If I click on it, it'll take me directly to that location so I can address the issue. But just to scroll down a little bit, I have these current issues, right? Over here to the left, I got the model, I got the device nickname, I got the customer it's associated to, and then over here in the middle, right, it's the reported issue. What happened, right? You can have a camera that's not recording. You can have a camera that, let's say, went offline. So what's so unique about IPTECHVIEW system is instead of going with the break fix approach, you're more in the preventative maintenance side. All right, so this allows you to be in the know of things before your customer lets you know that there's an issue. So scrolling down below here, you also have your cloud-based objects and services. This is another widget tool where you can utilize to, let's say, monitor your company's website, right? Or you can actually throw in a server on here as well. So as you can see here, here's an example of a Mobotics website as far as the response time. I do want to mention that the platform is highly customizable, meaning you can white label the platform. You can put your company logo on the top left-hand corner, change the colors around, move the widgets around as well, just based on your preference. Okay. As you can see here, here is a hierarchy of how the customer works, right? So you would be the parent, and then underneath you would be your customers, the children, as we like to say. So then this is just an example of how the hierarchy works. right now we're on the left-hand menu where it says customers. So here's an example. Let's say you can imagine your company logo here, and these would be the devices that you're currently managing. Here in the middle would be the customers that you would be managing and their locations, along with projects. So as you can see here, here's the model of the device, as well as the MAC address and firmware. And there's no issues reported except for the first one. This one is offline. This is actually a printer that we're managing with our IPTECHVIEW set gateway. Okay. Go ahead and show you a project tab now. So as an IT manager and a person who's in charge of overseeing a project, I feel like the project tab would be very beneficial. This allows them to see visibility and have a complete overview of all their devices that they're managing. As Christian mentioned before, IPTECHVIEW doesn't just consist of surveillance, right? It also consists of second layer security, such as switches, routers, environmental sensors, right? And also telephony, right? So as you can see here on this project tab, I can attach notes of what I've done at this project, even photos, even blueprints, right? And files as well, such as if I want to reuse a specific configuration file. I have documentation here that I can grab at any time. Scrolling down below, you have your infrastructure, such as IoT sensors. I'll keep scrolling down. Now I'm here at my surveillance, right? So this is a way to get organized. This is a way for you to see if there's any current issues pertaining to these devices. Also, it makes fast for deployment, meaning if you also want to see if these cameras are focused correctly, you can click here on the camera dashboard, and now you are able to see these live view cameras to make sure they're actually installed correctly and positioned correctly. You can move these around if you need to, based on your preference. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the health and monitoring of a particular device. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select this next camera. And this is an actual thermal camera. So now we're in the health and monitoring of a specific device. As you can see here, there's many widgets here that have very high importance. For example, we're pulling metadata from the actual camera, right? We can actually pull the firmware that it currently has, the sensors that it currently is using, the local address, any issues with recording. Speaking of recording, this MX Guard here is a really useful tool dedicated to recording, right? For example, you can have a camera that's recording too few events or too many events, or the camera's not recording at all, right? So you would want to set up alerts for that so you're aware of what's happening, right? As you can see here, here's an example of us checking the health of the SD card inside the camera. So this is a flashware meter, right? Over here to the right, here's some data as far as cloud storage. Okay. Scrolling up here, you can add your own customized pictures, move these widgets around. And last but not least, here's a green magic link button, as we like to call it. This is going to take you directly to that device as if you're there locally. So now you can fine tune the camera. You can make configuration changes as if you're there locally. Now, what that is going to do is that it's going to allow you to be able to manage multiple deployments throughout, let's say, a specific city, or even, branch out, right? You now have this amazing tool in IPTECHVIEW system that allows you to be able to visibly see, be able to remotely manage multiple devices, multiple customers, allowing you to add this type of new business module as being a managed service provider, which of course enhances your revenue, okay? Another thing about the IPTECHVIEW is you can make certain configurations to multiple cameras at one time. If you want to update the firmware on the camera, you can do that remotely. So no need to, roll your truck out and drive to the customer's location. You can do that now from the safeness of your home or from your office. Okay. And one other thing I did want to mention is third-party apps. As you guys are aware, you guys remember when the iPhone came out. The iPhone, what stood it apart was it had apps, and that's where surveillance is going. And this is how IPTECHVIEW has equipped itself to be in cutting edge, right? So here's third-party apps, such as license plate recognition, cloud storage, Calypso AI, and soon enough we'll have gun detection, facial recognition. And we can also make custom solutions, based on your customer. Okay. I do want to mention that over here on the left-hand side, right, you have a lot of tabs, and they serve as generating reports for one, right? You can have a service level that you get this sent out to your customer. For example, let's say I worked on this camera here, right? This thermal camera. The way I work on it is I can click on this little wrench here. I can log my notes, time, materials, and costs, and add an entry. And so what happens is that gets logged. And now you can send those reports out to your customer so they can see that the service level has been up to par. And down below here, this is where you'll be able to manage your users, right? You'll be able to add devices, add users so they can only have access to IPTECHVIEW surveillance, which is more of the end user side of things. I like to consider IPTECHVIEW system as a back end and IPTECHVIEw surveillance as a front end, where the end user will actually face and utilize the platform. Okay. Now, there's one more thing that I wanted to speak about, and that is our website. That is iptechview.com. And this is where, if we didn't answer any of the questions, this would be the website where you can find any answers to the questions you may have. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and give you guys thanks. Thank you for your time for allowing us to give this demonstration. Okay.
Great. Thank you, guys. If anybody has any questions, please type them into your Q&A window now. And we've got a couple already. First one up. Does CamView highlight scene detected events and a specific cam comes to focus in overall CamView?
Okay, I'll take the lead on this one. We can incorporate that easily depending on the device itself. If the device doesn't offer that feature by itself, or the camera in this case, we can surely use the artificial intelligence analytics on our cloud to basically bring this to life. But this is a really case-by-case answer, depending on the camera you're using.
Okay, thank you. Next up, can the blueprint view automatically highlight a segment area, sensor, or hardware with a certain custom color profile?
I'm not 100% sure I understand the question correctly, but I would answer this in the same way. We have the analytics to basically make something like this happen in the cloud. We just need really to understand what the purpose is.
Okay, thanks. Wade, if you want to get in touch with us after, we can definitely flesh that out for you if you'd like. Next question, how open is the system, or how easy is it to integrate different solutions?
It is very open. We started with two major camera manufacturers, that is namely Mobotics and Axis, simply because we could get the most metadata out of them. But we are in the process of integrating more cameras to the system, even with our own. We're coming out soon with a short, small amount of cameras there too. But with the security gateway we're offering, we can basically incorporate any camera. And at this point, I would like to also, again, make sure you understand that it's a toolbox. You don't have to use every tool in the toolbox. You just pick what works for you. If the upload speed of your client doesn't support cloud recording, or you're satisfied with the on-site recording, you don't need to use it. This is really optional. We just wanted to give you a most complete tool set to use for your client.
Great,
So,
thank you.
Oh, hope that answers it. No, I hope that answers it.
Great, thanks. Next up, can we integrate devices which are not certified by IPTECHVIEW yet?
Yeah, basically same answer. With the security gateway we have, the security gateway scans the devices in your network, and whatever has a user interface, a web-based user interface, can be integrated. It's really easy as 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. And we have time for one more. You may have touched on this one, but why did you focus on Mobotics and Axis for cameras?
Well, yes, I touched on that one briefly. It's basically two very good camera lines, very intelligent camera lines So we could basically incorporate the power of their own feature set into the platform easiest. There are a lot of cameras which are basically just delivering a dumb stream and not much of metadata. So that was really not something we could really highlight. We can always dumb it down, but make it smarter when the smarter camera comes around is more difficult. So we started with the smartest cameras on the market.
Great, thank you. Well, that brings us to the end of today's session. Thank you for joining us, and thank you to Christian and Oz and to IPTECHVIEW Incorporated for their support. We look forward to seeing you at one of our 3 live trade shows this year. Until then, be well.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.